The Auto Club 500 on Fox, presented by Q Motor Oil, is sponsored by Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, and proud sponsors of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the number 8 car.
All those movie stars, they're all so beautiful and clean. I want to live a life like that, hey, 'cause I'm the next big thing in Beverly Hills. That's where I want to be.
From the Hollywood Hotel, Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, I'm glad to have you with us on Fox. We've only had 2 leaders and 3 lead changes. Approaching lap 50 here, Greg Biffle has led the most laps so far, slightly ahead of Tony Stewart, who's worked his way up to the front.
Yeah, right now we've been watching Tony Stewart make his way around a lot of this competition, but so far, look at the lap times. He is almost mirroring the 16 car Greg Biffle, but he did give up a little bit of ground, you know, working his way through traffic. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not he can get a little bit of pull off the draft that you get here at California Speedway and be able to close in on Greg Biffle and see how really tough he is.
And Darrell, Larry, and Mike pointed out Matt Kenseth, one of the greatest climbers so far, all the way up to 6th, not too far away from Tony Stewart.
Not too far away from Tony Stewart. And that could be real interesting as we go deeper in this race, because I think if Matt can ever get up that lead group, he's got something for him.
All right, let's rejoin Mike, Darrell, and Larry.
Tony Stewart was closing on Greg Biffle, but he's not been able to gain any ground. He's still 1.3 seconds behind. There is Stewart. OAD is overactive adrenaline disorder. These 3 Ford drivers have it. That's what they've gained as they move up through the field. Since the start of today's race, right this moment, 5 of the top 10 drivers are in Ford Fusions, and the fastest mover of them is that 17.
He's still on the move, and ironically, the fastest movers are all Roush cars.
Another jack attack.
Roush has 3 Cup wins here, 5 in the Busch Series, counting the 3 by the John Reiser-owned car, or excuse me, 5 plus the 3 of the John Reiser-owned car driven by Matt Kenseth, and 2 truck wins, including Mark Martin here Friday night.
I was going to say, Mark won Friday night for Jack. Biffle won yesterday for Jack, and they're looking pretty good today for Jack.
When I look at McMurray right there in that purple 26 car, remember he started back in 25th. He's up to 7th. Now this race team with Kurt Busch won this race 3 years ago, but McMurray has 5 starts here. He's finished in the top 5 3 times, so he likes this racetrack as well.
He runs in 7th right now, Steve.
Mike, he likes this race car a lot. The only comment he's made to Jimmy Fennick was it's just a little bit snug.
Jeff Gordon, past winner here, has had a kind of uncharacteristic day. He's now running in 17th position. Matt, what's up with Jeff?
He started the day out 9th, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, currently 17th. Now, Steve Letarte, as crew chief told me, they expect good things this weekend, but this is some recent conversation on the radio from Gordon to his team, talking about how bad he is struggling with that 24 car.
Tight it all in the center. I'm just so bad getting in and off. We don't need to worry about that tightness. I mean, I'm sliding the back end before I ever even get to the corner.
Now, Letarte told me that they don't expect miracles, but they feel like each week the goal is just to get better, and they've got a lot of work to do to get that 24 car better on the next stop, formulating a game plan of what changes to make to the 24.
Well, to me, what's so ironic, you see the 24 Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car running together. I think that was the biggest question over the winter. Has these 2 teams turned their 2005 seasons around? This is the type of racetrack that fought both of these race teams last year, and I think the biggest reason it started fighting them, Darrell, is when NASCAR cut that inch off of that rear spoiler. You hear Jeff Gordon talk about being loose, getting in the corner. The rear's wanting to come around at over 190 miles per hour. They just can't give these 2 drivers the feel they're looking for with this package at this type of racetrack.
Yeah, and the bad news, the worst news is we run a lot of tracks like this.
Yes.
And 1.5 and 2 mile racetracks.
Jeff Gordon, a 3-time winner here in California, but in the last 3 races here has not finished in the top 20.
Junior's been 19th or worse here the last 4 races. 2 DNFs.
Let's check up on our singular virtual crew chief question about NASCAR policing rough driving. You said NASCAR's policing it closely, will curb it by a margin of 2-1.
Well, I think that's a great place to start with the drivers. Talk to them, see if you can get something worked out, just like we did with the no racing back to the yellow. We used to live by that, and we all abided by it. But when it got to the point where they wouldn't do it on their own, NASCAR had to step in. Rough driving, if you won't do it on your own, we have to step in.
42, Casey Mears behind Gordon, who's battling J.J. Yaley. High up on the outside. What a start to this season he's had. More on Mears in a minute, who runs in 17th. Let's Matt update the Gordon story.
And Mike, when Jeff Gordon missed the chase last year, that was one of the biggest headlines of 2005, but the team actually felt like it was a blessing because it gave them an opportunity to test on all those 1.5, 2-mile tracks that make up the chase. And when you look at his stats, it's kind of surprising when you go back to October 2002 to current day. He has not had a lot of success. In fact, his only wins on a 1.5, 2-mile track, Atlanta in October 2003, and right here at Fontana, May 2004. So they know this is the type track configuration they really have to improve on if they're going to get this team back to championship caliber.
Right behind Gordon, Casey Mears. This is a home game for Mears, who is from Bakersfield, California, moves from the Target car over to Haviland colors and the 42 for the 2006 season. The newest of the Mears gang is Uncle Rick Mears, 4-time winner of the Indy 500. Casey's dad, Roger Mears, a legend in off-road and desert racing. And in this period video, who's that little fella? He's a young kid who went on to drive Indy-type cars, win the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona this year, and last week run second in the Daytona 500. Combine that with his top finishes at the end of last season, and a lot of people think this could be a breakout year for Casey Mears.
Yeah, you take the Daytona 500 in the final 3 races of last year, the last 4 races, 3 top 5 finishes, the hottest driver in the 4-race period.
On your left, the lead battle, Biffle and Stewart in the 20. On your right, the 4th place race, as Matt Kenseth in the 17 takes it to Jimmy Johnson.
That 20 car, Tony Stewart, he has been mowing Greg Biffle down about 2 to 3 tenths a lap.
He has, and the thing about Tony's car, it is so consistent. He runs in the 41s, high 41s all the time. Greg's been pretty consistent, but he's in the low 42s just enough.
Boy, he about ran out of racetrack, had to snatch the thing back to the left, but he stayed in the throttle. Looks like he's going to almost complete the pass going down the front straightaway.
Look, he did not intimidate Biffle the least bit. Biffle's still in the gas.
And Biffle is one of those kind of guys that you don't really want to get riled up too much.
And Biffle just stayed in the throttle, got that good run. Now, if Tony Stewart in the 20 can get the run off too, and he does, slides up in front of Biffle to take the lead.
Now, Michael Waltrip in front of them has his arm out the window, waving everybody to the inside of his car, which will go 2 laps down.
And Tony was waving back at Biffle, too, because he could see the way Biffle came back on him with a lot of aggression. Hey, dude, I'm sorry. He put that hand out there and gave him a wave. Because that was a very aggressive move. Easy to do off turn 4. You come in here, you got a lot of push, got a lot of wheel in the car. Coming, run out of track. No harm, no foul.
Once again, at about 180, 85 miles per hour.
So Tony Stewart, the defending and now 2-time Nextel Cup Series champion, into the lead at lap 61. Dick?
Well, as Tony was closing on the leader, Mike, I told you he was feeling light and breezy, and he just came on the radio and said to his crew, "Here, kitty, 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 kitty."
Matt Kenseth has made quite a charge through the field in that DeWalt 17.
Yes, he has.
And I think the 2 cars that showed so good in yesterday's practice on long runs, maybe not the fast cars, they're showing up now. And it's Matt Kenseth in that 17 and our leader, Tony Stewart, in that 20.
62 laps complete, 188 to go, and Tony Stewart out in front of Greg Biffle. Racing involves quite a bit of trust as Greg Biffle runs the high side. Tony comes up and keeps his distance. So let's make Tony Stewart our Allstate Good Hands driver today. Allstate, official insurance partner of NASCAR.
You know what's going to be interesting, DW and Mike, we're about 10 laps away from what will probably be the first green flag stop of the 2006 season for these teams. Up around lap 75 to 80, see Michael Waltrip, the 55 car, actually on pit road already.
Yeah, Michael's still got an engine problem. He's running on 7 cylinders, so he must be burning up a lot of fuel.
Fifth place race, Jimmy Johnson trying to pull down on Kurt Busch. Jamie McMurray went past Busch 2 laps ago to run fourth behind Stewart, Biffle, and Kenseth.
But you know, DW, last year pretty consistently on the higher speed racetracks, the Dodgers were the first cars to hit pit road on green flag stops.
Let's check with Dick.
Well, Mike, both of the Penske cars, Ryan Newman and Kurt Busch, both of them have gone tight, and they're going to have to adjust those cars to try to get them back in contention again. Jeff Burton, who was an early contender, also dropping back. His car is also tight. So it's pretty consistently what we're hearing on pit road.
Jeff Burton has fallen back to 10th, and Ryan Newman, teammate to the 2 of Kurt Busch, has dropped all the way to 23rd.
Well, I think what's happened with those cars going tight, meaning they're turning the steering wheel and the front end is just sliding. I think the track's actually cooling down just a little bit, which will make the car go tight. Plus, I talked about a full fuel run. They've burned all that fuel off the rear of the car. It's gained nose weight, which makes it tight.
Darrell, this is what we talked about at the top of the show, how your car works at the start of a long run and what you've got to do to maintain pace, if not improve it, as you get toward the end of a run.
Well, the good news is it's a 500-mile race, so you're going to get a lot of chances to adjust on it, and we're going to go through a number of changes here condition-wise. It's all in the driver's hands, what he tells the crew chief and what adjustments he needs.
Ninth place driver is Reed Sorenson, the 20-year-old from near Atlanta, Georgia, one of Chip Ganassi's young promotions to the Nextel Cup circuit, the other being David Stremme. Stremme in the 40. Here's Sorenson in the Energizer, number 41. He restarted 17th. He has now moved to 9th.
Yeah, he started back in the 29th position, DW.
Yeah, kid's got a lot of talent. I think he's got a really, he's going to do really good in this series.
Yeah, he was the 1997 quarter midget national champion, and he was not very old in 1997.
No, he's a young man now, so he's got a lot to look forward to. And Chip, I think Chip's done a good job of turning his program around. You know, with Mears having the success he's having, got Sorenson here and Stremme. I think he's doing a good job getting his program turned around.
Matt?
And that 41 car having a good run, Mike. Also, his crew chief, Jimmy Elledge, making note of the fact that we are now in cloud cover, so his driver be aware of how the track will change with the clouds out. But his driver also said that the car is good, but Reed said the brake pedal is going almost to the floor.
Darrell, I will say, this high-speed racetrack, as I walked through the garage area this morning, I was shocked at how many brake duct hoses that these guys had on the front of the car cooling the brakes. We know also they're trying to cool the tire to keep the front air pressure down. A lot of brake ducts on these cars.
That's really hard for me to believe. I mean, it's a high-speed racetrack with, if we had our telemetry in, I don't think you'd see guys touching the brake maybe, but I can't imagine using a lot of brake.
These pit crews stand idle, but not for long. We'll be back for green flag pit stops. Tony Stewart leads Greg Biffle and Matt Kenseth in the Auto Club 500, presented by Q Motor Oil.